guess we're ready to start off on the top of the cabinet. So I'm going to actually click on my front viewport so it's activated. I'm going to hit Alt-W. Now just like we did the front of the cabinets, we got to create the edges to represent the top of the cabinets. So I'm going to go in my perspective here. I'm going to go in edge mode, which I'm already in. I'm going to click it again. Hold down edge and grab that edge by holding control. So I got two edges. Now I'm going to go ahead and with those two edges selected, I'm going to Alt W out here so you can see what's going on. I got to connect, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So I'm going to hit connect. It remembers that I had 4 settings to begin with, which is fine. So with those 4, like I said, you can always click here and bring it down if you don't need to go 4, but in this case we do need 4, not 5, 4. I'm gonna hit OK. Now I'm gonna actually grab that edge and I'm gonna line one right about there, really close to that edge. Here we can even, we'll leave that there. Grab this edge, I'm gonna line it right under right there. I'm gonna grab this edge. Let's see, we'll grab this one now at the bottom, line it up right there. I'm going to grab that edge and line it up over here. It looks like I didn't need that extra edge. So what I'm going to do is, looks like I didn't need him, this edge right here, so I'm going to grab him. I'm just going to click on it. If you hold down Control, there's a tool called Remove here. Holding down Control, you hit Remove. The reason you hold down Control is because if you don't, it's going to leave vertexes, which I'll do it again. I'm going to Control Z. So if I just accidentally just grab that edge, I can't hit Delete because it deletes the face. Okay, so if I hit the edge and just hit Remove without holding Control, it removes it. But if I go to my vertexes, you see you have a floating vert. This is a big no-no in Max. Every vert should be connected to an edge. So I'm actually going to hold down Control and remove those as well. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to grab, go in edge mode, I'm going to grab this edge and this edge. Alt W. I'm going to go in my front viewport, Alt W, so you see what's going on. I'm going to need 1 down here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to need 8 down. So I'm going to go ahead and go connect. And I'll probably just, you know what? We can't just connect from there because I need to grab these. So I need to cancel this out. I got to actually grab these edges up on top too, because we have to we have to connect all the way down. So I got those 4 edges. I'm going to hit connect. Now I can probably crank this up to 8, just like that, and I'm going to hit OK. Now, of course, when I grab these edges up here, I got to loop them down now. So I'm going to grab 1, loop, and I'm going to slide this over on the x-axis. Remember, in my front viewport, I'm going to grab this edge, I'm going to loop it, bring it over. All right, I'm going to grab this edge, loop it, bring it over to represent that line. I'm going to grab this edge, loop it, bring it over. I'm going to grab, let's say, this edge. I'm going to loop it. I'm going to bring that one over right about there. I'll grab that edge. I'm going to loop it. Slide that one right there. Got this edge. Oh, let's grab this one. I'm going to loop it. I'm going to slide that one over here. I'll grab that edge and loop it. Slide it over here. Alright, so we got what's going to, the lines are going to represent our dresser, top dresser doors. So I'm going to hit Alt W so you can see what's going on here in my perspective viewport. So now, just like the dresser drawers and cabinets, we are going to do the same thing with the illusion of the cabinet doors on top. So I'm going to go to my polygon modes, and I'm going to select what represents those doors. I'm holding down control while I'm doing this. Whoops, I'm going to control Z. I didn't want that one. Alright, the first step I'm going to do is we got to inset it in, or not inset it, but extrude it in. So I'm going to go extrude, but I'm going to reverse it a little bit. See, that's extruding out, but I'm going to go in just a bit. Alright, I hit OK. Oh, that check mark. Now I'm going to inset it in slightly. I'm going to zoom up so we can see how much I'm insetting in. I'm going to move this up a little bit. And just slightly, not much. I don't want to go all the way down here. And plus you don't want to overlap. Whenever you see something like that, that's a bad move. Don't do it. We're just slightly insetting it in. I hit OK. Then I'm going to extrude right back out. So we're going opposite way now. Just like that. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and inset it in one more time. I'm just going to drag those in just slightly like that. I'm going to press OK. Alright, so now we got, you know, the illusion of our dresser drawers, or, you know, the top portion of the doors. I'm going to go ahead and detail these out. I'm going to hit my edge. Grab one edge here, one edge there. And that's all we need. And then I'm going to hit loop. And it loops it all the way around. Now the only reason we can loop an edge is because we have two edges on opposite sides of it. I'll explain this more in detail when we work on another object. Alright, so with that I'm going to hit chamfer. As you can see, I chamfered out my edges. It remembers the settings, and I'm going to hit OK. Now we got some nice detailed dresser doors. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the illusion here of the doors, the windows, I suppose. Now what I could do from here is I'm going to go ahead and take this face and slightly extrude them in. Just going to extrude, move that over here, and I'm going to extrude them inwards slightly, just like that, about that thickness right there. Alright, I'm going to hit OK. And you know what? From here, we can leave that the way it is, because we can throw a texture shader on there and make it transparent. You know, we can do that. So what I'm going to do, just so, no, you know what? Let's just go ahead and, let's go ahead and delete these for now. We can always build new ones. I'm going to delete those. So basically I just selected them, deleted them, just so you can see what's going on inside. Alright. Now that we got the, you know, the doors cut out. Here, let me, so you can see what's going on. All we gotta do is build one little box right across and shift drag it all the way down. So I'm gonna take my box here, and you know what? I'm gonna just kind of match this up a little bit. You know, I'm assuming this is pretty wide, so but for now we can, you know, we can just start off. I'm gonna click, drag, slight box, about matches in length a little bit, and just click. So I got something like that. Now, you know, of course we haven't collapsed it yet. You know, I can come to my modify settings here, you know, and I can, you know, extrude the height out a little bit, or, you know, I can reverse the height. Don't matter. Or, you know, like I said, if you're comfortable, you can just convert it to a box or edible poly. And from there, you can grab those verts and position them how you want. So here's the top of our viewport here, and I can just grab those edges back, or those vertexes, and bring it all the way somewhat to the back. You don't want to overlap it or extrude it through. So I'm just matching that up, and I'm going to grab them from the front and bring them over a little bit. And right over here, I'm going to match them. At the same time, I'm going to look at my viewports to see, like for example, that I'm not going through, which I just did there. So I'm actually going to grab these and just kind of tuck them in slightly. I'll grab those verts, tuck those in, and then, you know, maybe grab these ones on the side or in the back and just tuck those in. Alright, and then if I really want to add some detail, I can chamfer those edges. So I'm going to grab this edge, loop it. Notice I cannot loop it. I'm going to show you a little trick now. This is what I was trying to explain earlier. So I'm actually going to click on him, right click, hide unselected. I'm going to Z up just on the dresser drawer or whatever, this shelf. If I took my edge here and I try to hit loop, it doesn't work because you have to have basically an edge on opposite sides. So what I got to do is actually take this poly, and I'm going to do them both at the same time. So I got that poly, hold down control, grab that poly. And I'm just going to slightly inset it. Just like that. Hit OK. See, but now I have an edge here and an opposite edge on this side. That's basically sandwich, you know, it's basically you have an edge. The middle edge has an edge on the top and the bottom of it. That's the only way you can loop edges. So I'm going to grab that edge now, and this one has it too, so I'm going to grab both edges. I can loop them. Now it loops around. And then, you know, I'm going to hit that chamfer just slightly. And then maybe add one chamfer like that. 3, that's fine. Press OK. There we go. Kind of got my detail on my dresser shell, so I'm going to unhide all. And you know what? I like things consistent, so I'm going to hit M. I'm just going to drag that shader right onto that. And of course I want this. I'm going to click it again and click my swatch, and I want these black. Alright, so I got one of them. Now all I have to do is, here, I'm going to go to my front viewport. We have one of them. I'm going to click him. I'm going to hold down Shift, grab my Y-axis, and I'm duplicating that. And then of course I can actually, you know, make, say, 2 copies of it. And when you use, when you make something that's identical, you want to make instances. So I can click an instance. In this case I do. You know, so if I click an instance, I made 2 more copies. So whatever I do to the original one, right here, say like needs to be longer for some odd reason, it matches the other ones. See? Alright, but that looks pretty fine. Good on that. So I'm going to Alt W. And so far we got a pretty good looking dresser. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take one more of these and I'm going to shift drag it so we have the illusion that we have a base down here. Just like that, and I'll make that an instance as well. Alright. Last thing we gotta do is just add our knobs, our dresser drawer knobs and stuff. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the slight details on our dresser here. Alright, I'm gonna Alt W, I'm going to my front viewport, and looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 6 knobs. Now, a simple way of doing this is like, we don't have to get all too detailed, so I'm going to grab me a simple sphere, I guess we can use. I could use a geosphere or whatnot, it doesn't matter. I'm going to turn on my auto grid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto grid right onto this. So it's going to build that little sphere right there. Now, I'm going to zoom up on that sphere. Do we really need that detail? Yeah, we could. I mean, we can bring it down just a bit. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and round it off, I suppose. Leave it at 32 is fine. Alright, so if I zoom out, I'm going my perspective. I'm going to Z up on that. You can see that I got the sphere, but I'm going to actually click on it, the move tool, move it out slightly. Just like that. And I'm going to just kind of line, you know, so it doesn't go through. I mean, I guess it could go through a little bit, just like that. Alright, now with my scale tool, I'm going to use my scale tool here. With the sphere still selected, I got scale. I'm going to go on the Y-axis right here, and I'm just going to smash that in just a bit, and then probably realign it. There we go. Now from there, in my front viewport, all I'm going to do is hit shift, duplicate that over, 1, copy it. You know, we better make them instances in case we got to resize them all at once. I'm going to go 1 instance, which it was. I'm going to shift again. There goes another. And then I'm going to shift again. Alright, so let's going back to perspective and see if things are lining up properly, which they are. Now I'm going to go back to my front viewport. I'm going to grab one of these and shift drag it over here. Press OK, and then I'm going to shift drag it over here to duplicate them. Alright, and then I'm going to go my perspective and just see if these are lined up properly. Looks like they are. Alright. Now, I guess we're pretty much, we're almost done here. You know, what I'm going to add is, I'm going to create a glass illusion that there's a glass window in there. Just because why would we build a dresser if we didn't even have the glass front? So I'm going to teach you a new trick here. Alright, but before I do that, let's go ahead and attach everything together. So I'm going to click on my, dresser. Now I could easily just kind of like highlight it, group, and call it dresser. That's one way of doing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the dresser. Go to my modify here. There's a tool called attach. Now I can actually click the list, open it up, and turn on my geometry, and you can see all the geometry there. And I can click, shift, drag, hold down shift and attach them all together. Or, if you don't know exactly what everything is or name, you can just hit attach and then just mouse over and start attaching objects together. And I'm attaching the doorknobs, and we got these dressers there. So I'm going to turn that off now. Now what I've done is just basically attached everything together. They move together. Notice my pivot's way down here now. How to reset that pivot, which is my gizmo's way down there. You can go to this little spaceship or hierarchy. It's called hierarchy. Active pivot, center, and then turn it off by clicking it off, and then now it's in the center. But now I'm going to give a little breakdown of this. I'm going to go to modify. Notice that it's all together now, but they are still separate elements. So I can still click on each individual element down to the doorknobs. That's good for texturing when it comes down to texturing and stuff. Alright, the last move now though is I'm going to build some imaginary, we'll build some glass windows for now. We won't texture them glass, we'll have it transparent like it's glass there. So I'm going to teach you a new trick. I'm actually going to grab the poly of the dresser. I'm going to go to edges. And I'm going to grab this, I guess I could grab this edge. I don't think I can technically loop them. You know what? What I'll do is I'll grab this edge, control that edge. I'm going to ring them just like that, and then I'm going to add one connect, and it's going to connect them all the way through. So I don't want 8, I just want 1, and as you can see I got 1 connect there, and it connected it all the way through. Now I'm going to check it, okay, just like that. Now with those edges still selected, I'm going to come down here. It says create shape from selection. I'm going to click that, and this dialog box is going to open. I'm going to call this window. I'm going to make it linear. I'm going to press OK. Now what I have just done is duplicated that edge. So if I go to my hierarchy and show my splines or edges, I'm going to click that. It's name a window. I'm going to select it. And as you can see, if I move it out, there goes those edge lines. With those edge lines, I'm just going to go ahead and right click, turn it to an editable poly, and now we have, it's still kind of flipped inside out, but I'm going to go ahead and grab those faces, just that, extrude them out, outwards just a bit, like that. Press OK. These still look flipped in and out, so I'm going to highlight these polys right here, use my flip tool, and now my polys are facing the right way, and then I'm just going to grab that border. There's a border here and a border here, and I'm going to cap it off. So now if you see, I just built some, they're kind of thick glass windows, so I'm going to actually grab this edge, or this poly, whoops, let me Control Z. I got that selected and that selected. I'm just going to kind of skinny these up just slightly. There we go. And then I'm going to grab those. You know what, before I do that, let me highlight these and make them black edges, just because I'm picky like that. Alright, and notice my pivot's way out there on those, so I'm going to actually reset those pivots by hitting that, activate pivot, center to object, turn it off. And then I can just kind of tuck that in on the y-axis. There we go. And then, just so I can see through it, I'm going to hit my material key. I'm going to grab a new shader right here. You know, and I'll just call this window for now. We don't need no glass shader on it. We're just going to drag, you know, I'll just give it slightly different color, maybe, you know, a slight blue, just like that. And I'm going to bring down the opacity, just so we can see through it. And, you know, of course I can bring up the speckle and all that, but we'll get into that another time. I'm going to click, drag, and now I have a transparent shader on there. And there we go. We are done with our dresser. Now the last thing I need you to do is basically render out an ambient pass and then post up in the forums. You know, just so we could do a global illumination skylight render, but let's go ahead and get used to our ambience all the time. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down a plane on the ground. I'm going to go Alt-W. I'm going from viewport. I'm going to click and drag a plane, just like that. Turn off my G key, my grid. You know, that's my grid up here. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to select on that plane so you can see it. Alright, with that plane selected, I'm going to go ahead and modify, you know, click on my modify, and I'm going to bring this down. We don't need all those edges. And then I'm going to kind of tuck this right, you know, I'm going to make sure it's aligned so it's, you know, the dresser sits right on it. I'm going to scale that out. So I'm clicking on the plane. I'm going to scale that out really big, just so we can cover what we're rendering. Alright, from there I'm going to hit my M key, and I'll just take the same first gray shader, just drop it on the edge there, or on the plane. And I'm going to change my plane edges, just because that's me. I'm picky like that. Alright, from there, just so I can see what I'm rendering, I'm going to right click on my perspective and show save frames. And I'm going to kind of, you know, I might pick this dresser here and just kind of pull it out a bit. Oops. I guess we should, you know, attach those. Be careful when you attach these to the glass. I'm going to attach glass. And what you want to do is do not modify material IDs on the materials. So, oops. Make sure when we attach them, I think, hold on, we got to make sure we're attaching the right ones. Attach, hit my glass, and match material IDs and materials. There we go. That one. That way we keep the glass, what's going on? Oh yeah, that way we keep the glass with its own shader and doesn't adopt the other gray shader. Alright, so I'm going to turn that off. Alright, and then I'm going to click on this plane and probably just make it slightly bigger. Alright, so I got something like that in my frame, and let's go ahead and set up our ambient render. So, you know what, let's just go ahead and use the skylight because we want to see the glass anyways. If we do the ambient, that's going to cover that. So the way we do our regular global illumination is that we're going to go to our lights, clicking right here, going to standard, just hit skylight, just click anywhere once, anywhere in the scene. Now you see that little, it's a global illumination light. All you gotta do is go to render, light tracer, turn that on. Make sure light tracer is on and it's active. You know, so it's light tracer active, and then just hit render. And now we got a global illumination render. At least so we can see our details. I still want, you know, you getting used to your ambient occlusion. Just for this demonstration, we're just rendering out our global passes. Now notice in the inside we can see right through. We don't have the back side of the wall. So what I'm going to do is in my materials, I'm going to check two-sided. So whatever we threw on the gray, that's gray, it's going to be two-sided. So when I render it again, the material is two-sided now. And we got the glass in there. Unfortunately, we can't see through that glass, which is fine. Feel free to give me a render with the glass if you want it. Save that out as a JPEG. Just call it dresser. And post that up into the forums. Oops, we're going to call this dresser render. I want to save over my old file. And make sure it's best quality. Press OK. Now, in this case here, I'm going to actually take the glass here. So I'm going to go to my element here, because those are the glass elements there. And just for now, I'm going to hit delete, just so we can see the inside renders. Because, you know, your global illuminations isn't really, that's just your soft shadow renders. I guess, you know, otherwise I can Control Z. And what we could do is go back to our materials, click that, we'll just bring down the opacity really low. And that should, the global illumination now should be able to see right through that. Well, I guess not. You know what? I'm actually going to hit M. And just because I can do that, I'm going to go get a glass shader here. I'm going to make a glass shader. I'm going to click that. I'm going to change this to a ray trace material. And I'm going to keep that FOM specular level like that. And I'm going to click this. And we're going to make the transparency down. And I'm going to keep my index refraction probably 155. That looks pretty good. If I want reflective, I could go to my maps. This is getting all crazy. I could put a ray trace on the reflect. Don't worry, we'll get into materials in another class. I think that works. Alright, I'm just going to grab those elements and drag that shader on here. Let's see if that worked. I guess I gotta put a light in there. This is garbage. Oh, hell with it. Just delete it and render it out that way. Just so we can see the dang dresser drawers inside. Alright, and then save that out. And we'll call that dresser render 2. So I want one, I guess you can have one with your windows and one without. Alright, sorry about the little mix up on the end. Obviously we have to use our diffuse render. You know, I mean, I guess I could have put some lights in there, and that possibly could have helped. if I actually render that out. There we go. We got lights now, then we can actually kind of see what the hell's going on. Wow, what a mess. Anyways, but yeah, that could have worked. I didn't want to really put lights in there. But, you know, and that could have been the case. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned something about Polygon modeling.